Welcome to the 8-Bit Ramblers podcast. It's episode 3. It's March 13th, and we just started daylight saving time. It's a very rainy day, a good day to stay inside, play some video games, or record a podcast with your friends. So, as always, I'm Zarian.
I'm Emily.
And I'm Ruben.
What games have you guys been playing recently?
I've been playing the heck out of Xenoblade Chronicles X.
How's that been going?
It's beautiful. That game is obnoxiously beautiful.
That's always a good problem.
Yeah. The only, visually, audioly, I don't know what that word would be.
Sound? I don't know.
Sound?
Musically?
Musically?
Yeah, there we go.
There you go. Musically, all the creatures are beautifully designed. The only thing that doesn't look great is the character models. When they talk in cutscenes. They didn't animate their faces with much movement, so they do that classic video game thing of their mouths just open and close as they talk. Yeah, but otherwise it's beautiful. Gameplay is not really anything to write home about. It's not bad. It's just not anything special or new. But it's fun. It's a good time. I've put probably 15 hours into it, and I'm still not even I haven't experienced half of what the game has for me.
Wow.
There's a whole nother part where you get to fly around the world in a giant mech, I guess.
Oh my gosh.
Or I hope
that you haven't got to yet?
That I haven't gotten to yet. Because you start off and you're just a person on the ground, and there's enemies running all over the environment, and the enemies range everywhere from small to medium to large to extra large to extra large.
Like a McDonald's menu?
Yes.
I see.
Exactly.
Super size.
So the small things go from things about the size of your face to the extra large, which are things so big you don't even come up to their toes.
Oh my gosh.
Or
have you fought one before?
No, because that's the other thing is this game is not very forgiving.
I see.
Oh.
And so even in the beginning world where I spent maybe 10 hours just doing little quests, fetch quests and all this stuff, the animals are so mixed in that you'll be hunting something level 5, but it'll be trailing along underneath one of the big guys for safety. That's what it's it's doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
So that if you do any kind of AoE, you hit the big guy, and the big guy could be level 80.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
If you make him mad, he just one hits.
Just apologize. I'm so sorry. I did not mean to do that.
It's a mess, but it's a fun mess.
It's a fun mess. And that's good to hear.
Even sneaking by those level 80 guys is just fun.
Alright,
So, I guess I'll go. So I haven't been playing much recently because I ran into a bit of a problem in the last game I was playing, and that was Divinity Original Sin. I got all the way to the final area where there's a door, and it says, you must collect all the pieces of yourself or whatever. And I was like, oh, of course. You have these bloodstones that unlock areas in the home world, and so far we had gotten 3, and I thought, oh, you only need 1 more. It turns out you only need 1 more, of course. I found that after I had looked up and saw that there was a forum that said you needed 15 of them, and they were scattered around the entire world, everywhere, places that I hadn't been since the beginning of the game. And I was just I have to go back, do all this stuff. It was kind of interesting. I only ended up finding 3 or 4 of them, but it was actually tying up loose ends that I had completely forgotten about, which was cool. But I am done with that, and I just want to move on to the end and beat it. So hopefully soon.
So wait, you only needed 1 more.
Yeah.
But the form said you needed to get all 15 of them?
It said you needed at least 12 of the 15 available. And I was like, okay, well, I only have 4 now, unused ones. So time to get some more, but apparently I only need 1 more, and I need to use it, but I don't know what to use it on. It's very important. I might just waste it, just for the sake of...
You have to use it on something?
Yeah, it's usually used to, heal people, but I'm, really tanky, and I never really take a lot of damage, so I don't know. Maybe I'll just get hurt by, like, a crab or something and use it arbitrarily.
Divinity is such a weird game in the way that, like, it's a well-made game, but it has all those, like, weird RPG mindsets where, like, if it was D&D, it forces you to do really weird things you didn't think of, because
with no hint.
That's the way that they want you to do it.
Yeah.
And there's, like, only one way to do it. It's weird. But I recently finished playing Firewatch. It's a game about this guy going out to Wyoming and working as a person who sees fire and calls the person to to extinguish it. I don't actually know what
Basically,
the job is called.
The dispatcher?
No.
They're just like they're part of the like a National Park Service. They just have to call in fires and make sure they don't get out of control. They don't actually extinguish them if they're too big.
So he's just like a park ranger?
Exactly.
Kind of, yeah. So you think this game would be kind of boring, but they throw in a lot of emotional, like, rides along the way between relationships between you and your boss, who is also, like, very emotionally unstable, and she speaks to you, who you are also emotionally unstable because your wife has early onset Alzheimer's, and you kind of go through this process as you learn a bit more about yourself, you learn a bit about your boss and the world around you. So it's a very interesting emotional ride to go through. I know a lot of people aren't very satisfied with the ending, but it's a little bit different for me because as I was playing through it, it was very tense, and I was kind of happy. The ending was kind of like non-dynamic. Nothing really happened. There wasn't really some big closure or anything. You just kind of ended, and that was kind of fine for me because it was so tense along the way. I was kind of relieved that nothing happened, which is weird. But another game I've been playing a lot is the Overwatch beta. Interesting story I have to share from that is that there are a lot of people who just hardcore no life play that game. So you have levels of, like, in Call of Duty, you have levels that you rank up and then you prestige or whatever. Mm-hmm. Kind of the same process, except you don't prestige. It's just a continuous, like, leveling. And so you start from level 1. Once you get to level 100, you get, like, a little cool border. And then there are people that go from level 100. So, like, it's like any other grind where it gets continuously harder as you level up to keep going. Mm-hmm. There are people that are level 200 in that game, and it's a beta. Like, let me remind you, this game isn't even out yet. It's a beta.
They won't retain that level when the actual game comes
it's gonna
out
reset.
Either.
Yeah. So,
do you get anything for getting that higher level? Like, when you hit 100, you get the border. Do you get, like, a cooler border?
No, it's the same. Anytime you level up, you get a cool little loot box. You open it up, and then you get, like, 4 little cool things, like a skin or something.
With loot that you won't keep either.
Right. But the story is that there's this group of level 100s and 200s. They all got into a party together, and then there's me on the other side, facing all 6 level 100s and 200s.
What level are you?
I'm level 30.
Oh, no.
All the people that was on my team are lower than level 50. And we were so scared. It was bad. We were all just like, oh my god, level 220? What does this guy do? This is terrifying.
Yeah.
But we lost the first game. Came back. Everybody left the first game that we lost. They just thought it was pointless. I got a new team. I got one level 100 guy, and we won that game. So I'm really happy.
Nice.
So, just so you know, you can still do it. Well, just some motivational talk.
Especially in a game like that where your level has no, like
actual advantage.
Yeah, actual advantage. You
might have a different skin.
Yeah, a different skin, different spray paints. I've seen spray paints in that game.
Yeah. So,
tags, but no real, like, gameplay advantage.
Right, it's a, like, actual experience. So, keep in mind, never give up, even if you're scared, the enemy looks tough, keep going there strong. You might win.
Just give up. It might be a lot of work.
But it's really satisfying when you win, or really sad when you do. Actually, it's less sad if you fail, because then you thought, oh, I'm gonna fail anyways.
Right.
See, so don't give up. It's better if you win.
It's a win-win, because if you win
slightly
excited.
lose. Yeah.
If you lose, you're not even sad.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Okay, so on our today's podcast, we have a couple new things actually. First, we'll go into our quick time question event, classic of ours, and then we're going to go ahead and move into a new segment, which is Video Game Would You Rather. We each have a couple questions to ask the whole group. That'll be pretty exciting. And then we're going to transition into our gaming news, and then our new segment, it's called Bold Predictions. And we're gonna go ahead and look at video game trailers, and we're gonna tell you guys all about the games that we watched the trailers about. We know you can't watch the trailer with us, unfortunately, but we'll tell you all about it, and we're gonna tell you whether we think this game looks great, looks fun, looks terrible. We'll tell you what we think, and then we're gonna transition into the games that we're looking forward to in the future, and also we're gonna transition to our big ramble. So that's what we have in store for tonight's podcast. All right, we're going to go ahead and start on our quick time question event. So we're going to go ahead and start on the first question, and that's from me to Ruben. All right, are you ready?
Yeah.
What is the best mount from a game you have played?
Well, just recently I started playing Terra, and when you start playing Terra, you get a, hellhound, a dark iron hellhound mount.
Sounds pretty cool.
That's a pretty decent mount. It was pretty good. But I think it's only temporary. I think you lose it after a few hours. But it was still cool to ride around on while I had it.
Right, yeah. Yeah, no, that sounds pretty great. So, what's a mount that you can think of that you really enjoyed?
I would say Epona from Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Just because...
That one specifically?
Yeah.
Or just Epona in any of them?
Just that one.
Just that one.
She's all, blocky and cute and... and, yeah.
You didn't like her from Twilight Princess?
She was okay. You could turn into a wolf and run around. Why wouldn't you want to do that?
Because you can swing your sword while you're riding around on it.
I know, but you could bite people as a wolf.
I guess. I don't know. That Epona was just so big, and you could blow on that reed, and she would come and hang out with you, and you could talk to her as a wolf.
That's
you finally
true.
got to live out your dreams of talking to Epona.
Yeah, I just thought it was kind of funny because she's so tiny in Ocarina of Time that it's just I'm a child riding around on a baby horse.
I wasn't the biggest fan of Shadow of Mordor, but I think it was really cool that you got to ride around a warg. That was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that. So go ahead and move on to I'm going to ask Emily a question.
Okay.
All right. This question is: what is the coolest first-person shooter ability or power?
What?
So, if you think of, Dishonored...
to be able to
or,
crouch?
in Dishonored or, BioShock or, you get,
look
special
up,
powers.
down.
To be able to zoom in with your eyes?
With your eyeballs.
I imagine you're just squinting, but that's not how squinting works.
Right.
That's not how eyeballs work.
No. I guess, since you said Dishonored, I'd have to say the blink ability. Because it really changes... I feel like when they came out with Dishonored and they came out with the blink, it was one of the very first, completely new things in a video game where people were like, this changes everything, and it changed that entire game. So I would say the blink.
Yeah, okay. No, I think it's a very interesting mechanic to put in. It did make it really interesting on the different things you can do. There's a bunch of really cool abilities. I think oh gosh, what was in BioShock I actually just really enjoyed zapping people. I think the stun of it was really cool, and also just having the power to just...
Mm-hmm. Something annoying, though, is that in the beginning of the game, if they were in water and you zap them, not only would they get stunned, but they would die. But then later in the game, when they got more powerful, you would zap them in water, and then they'd still come at you, and you'd still have to shoot them. And I was like, why was this working earlier, and now not anymore? I don't know. That was annoying.
Is there anything you can think of?
I would say anytime you get to do any kind of hand-to-hand combat in first-person view, if, the game does it right, it feels so heavy and powerful.
It's
very satisfying.
Yeah, just seeing your fist come out of, the right side of the screen and connecting with your enemy.
Right, or when you stab people in Call of Duty and it's, super fast.
Oh, yeah.
It's I could never do that, but in here, I'm stabbing people.
Yeah. It's very unreal, but it's great. It just works. Yeah. All right, so Emily is now going to go ask me a question.
Okay, so we actually touched on this a little bit just now, but If you could have one plasmid from BioShock 1, what would it be?
Definitely bees. It's
Oh.
it's pretty gross. It's really gross actually, because I have that thing where like sometimes a bunch of little like holes put together gives me like the shivers down my spine.
That one phobia.
So
yeah.
you like actually kind of have a hive on your arms and hands when you have the bees plasmid. But you have the ability to launch bees at people that the bees will only attack that person, and that is the most hilarious and amazing ability.
But what happens to those bees after they kill that person? Do they just go on to live their bee lives?
I think so.
Do
they dissipate?
Well, you could single-handedly save the honeybee population.
Yeah, exactly.
Or you could overpopulate the world with bees.
That's true.
And then the world would just be plagued by bees. We would all have to move to the cold weather countries.
Then they would exist there. They would evolve.
They would evolve. Their little fuzz would grow
Oh no!
to be even more fuzzy.
Woolly bees.
Woolly bees
Polar
roam
bees.
these glaciers.
What plasmid would you have, Ruben?
I don't know. I didn't play very much of BioShock.
Oh.
I got a little bit into it, and then I was like, I'm gonna stop and play this with my girlfriend because she hates scary games. And the first one is kind of spooky.
Yeah, it's pretty
And
creepy.
I haven't gotten back into it yet, so I don't know too many of them.
I definitely like the one where you can turn machines to be on your favor, just with a plasmid, like the hacking one. Because before you would have to hack, and then you got that one, and you're just like, nope, and that would be cool in real life. Like, you could just disable security cameras, and then, like...
Make the toaster be on your team for a change.
Yeah, exactly.
When the robot apocalypse happens, I'll be set.
You're set. So long as they send robots at you, and not just launch all our missiles at us.
Yes.
Or when you're getting a snack from the vending machine and it gets stuck, you can finally get that snack that you paid for. And, okay, so this is a question from me to Ruben. What video game gun would you want to own in real life?
Portal gun. Easy.
That was my answer, actually.
Oh, that's actually really good.
Yeah.
It's like
either
the correct answer for this question.
That's the right answer.
Either portal gun or gravity gun from Half-Life. Both are great. Good fun.
I was going with the more sloppy answer with the Lancer.
Oh, from Gears of War?
Yeah.
I mean, no, that's fun, too.
Not the retro Lancer, though, with the bayonet.
Yeah.
The chainsaw
one? Yeah. Classic. That would be so
For
fun.
all my lumberjack needs.
Exactly, yeah.
You could be out hunting and chopping down lumber at the
Yeah,
same time.
exactly. And
Just
maybe you
be
can
a
mix
human
both.
natural disaster. Exactly.
All right, so next question. It's from me to Emily. What character from a video game bothered you the most?
Bothered me?
Yeah, like just really annoyed you. You just wish they didn't exist,
Oh my gosh. Oh, there's so many.
Is there anybody that comes to mind, Ruben?
I always find myself hating people in video games, just being like, can I not have to interact with this person?
Right.
I have to think of one specific one, though.
See, I have the opposite problem, where, like, you know how every franchise has a Jar Jar Binks. And while I actually hate Jar Jar Binks, specifically, like, sometimes I just find them, like... Enjoyable.
Yeah.
Like, they don't get to me as much as they do other people. Or, like, that one guy who keeps asking you to do the same fetch quest and over for, like, a very small reward.
The guy from Fallout 4 that keep making fun of.
Oh, gosh.
You can have the companion.
Yeah, I have no idea.
The settlement. Another settlement needs your help.
Why can't...
I like that guy, too.
You like that guy?
It's like Harvey or something.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Something, but,
yeah.
I can't think of too many people who, like, actually annoy me. Like, I was just like, I don't want to talk to this person, hear this person drone on anymore. Yeah, that's a tough one.
I don't know. All I can think of is Dr. Mossman from Half-Life 2, the lady that betrays Eli and, like, sends him to the Citadel.
Yeah.
What a hoe. I hate her.
That's something that sticks with you.
Also, like, before she did that, whenever she was, like, part of the game, she would just talk on, and it would be, like, one of those unskippable cutscenes, but it's not a cutscene, because you're just in there, like, waiting for her to stop talking. Yeah.
I guess the only person that comes to mind would be your rival in the original, like, Red and Blue Pokemon.
Oh yeah.
Because he's
Kind of
just
jerk.
a dick the
For
whole
no
way
reason.
through for no reason.
Yeah.
And like, there's never like a redeeming point. Like,
Yeah.
there's all these fan theories about like why he's a dick, but like in the context of the games only,
Yeah.
like
you're
he's
like
just
10.
yeah, you guys are just 10, so there's just like this other 10-year-old just like being a dick to you, and you're
Yeah.
like, come on, man, I just want to go around doing my thing.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
And then he would always pop up and fight you at the worst time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After you're like super weak and you're like under leveled, and he's just like, "Hey,
What's
let me
up?
kick your
Yeah.
ass."
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, okay.
I can't actually say who bothered me the most because that's part of my video game Would You Rather later, so I'll reveal it later. All right, so Ruben, what's your question for me?
Okay. What game has the ugliest environment you've ever seen?
Ugliest environment.
Like, would it be on
Jeez.
purpose or on accident?
Either.
Either.
Oh,
Whatever you
man.
decide.
I've been playing a
It's-
lot of games that are the exact opposite of that.
Pretty.
But let's see. For I guess in the process of quick time question event, it's the first thing that pops into your mind, right? So, a long time ago, I played like the free trial for World of Warcraft. It was a long time ago, but man, that game's actually kind of ugly. If you put it in context to like Guild Wars 2, which was like coming out. It was pretty ugly, and I had a terrible computer at the time, so that really didn't help. So maybe it looked better, when I actually had full settings, but it was like at a point where it looked bad. That RuneScape was kind of better in the way that it's supposed to be bad.
Yeah.
That's how much I didn't like it. That's so yeah.
I don't know if the first thing I thought of counts. I thought of the lava world from Super Mario 64. It wasn't like ugly as much as it was just like scary. And the lava was always like really pixely, and like obviously all that whole game is blocky, you know.
Yeah.
But it was just like really, all the colors are always really dark and scary and just displeasing to the eye, you know.
Is there anything that you had in mind?
So I've played through and beaten Sonic 06, so I'm just gonna give it to that whole game.
Okay.
Specifically the hub world.
Oh, what was so bad about it?
It was not done.
Oh, okay. That is the problem.
It was
That
not-
is a
There
legitimate
were
problem.
like, they took a small texture and tiled it over
That's
large
disgusting.
mountains.
That is absolutely
Oh.
disgusting.
Large polygonal mountains.
See, that wins.
Or like the
Yeah.
grass is the same thing, where it's just a small tile repeated
Oh,
infinitely.
no.
It's hard to imagine a time in a game when developers were totally okay with tiling textures. That's pretty gross.
Right.
I don't think it was supposed to be that way. Sonic 06 was rushed out. I think they had intended to fix it and just didn't have the time to do it.
That was like the stand-in texture.
Yeah, because like it's the part I keep imagining is like just this one section of the hub world where it's just flat land and large polygonal mountains. And it makes me think this would be an alpha where you test Sonic's like running physics, which didn't
Right.
work, by the way.
Oh no.
Pretty sad.
They
But it
didn't
was
test
just
anything.
Ugly.
So you're saying hub world? Is this like something you come back to like a lot?
You
Yeah,
have to
so
look
in-
at.
In the 3D Sonic games, there's a lot of they use the hub world quite often, where you like have to go to different sections of this larger open world map to set off different cutscenes, which throw you into levels, which progress you like farther into the hub world.
Okay.
And they need to stop doing that.
Or at least work a little
Because
harder on the hub world.
The last one they did was Sonic Boom,
Mm-hmm.
which was a mess. You didn't have like if I remember it correctly, you didn't have like a compass or like a map on screen as you were moving around. You'd have to pause, hope you were like look to see which way you were facing, look to see where it wanted you to go, and hope you were lined up right. And you had to keep like doing that until you were lined up because there was no compass on like the
map,
main screen.
yeah.
Yeah. So you'd have to like try and navigate your way that way, and it was a mess.
Oh my
And
gosh.
there was no like indication of like where you were supposed to go.
Is there a reason you keep playing Sonic games?
Because some of them are really good.
Oh
Okay.
no.
If you played not Sonic 06, so that's the bad one. Sonic Generations was probably like the last one I played that was just beautiful. Like the 3D Sonic sections worked perfectly. You got to play as some 2D sections. Like, the bosses were interesting. The story was throwaway, but that's whatever.
So you're hoping for...
Like, every time I play one, I hope it's going to be a good one.
Right.
And it's a 50-50 shot as to whether or not going to be a good one.
Okay. I'm glad you still have faith in the series. I know many people don't.
It's just because so many people like to talk about the bad Sonic games that nobody ever talks about the good ones.
Right.
Yeah.
Because there's some that are really good and some that are really bad. And if you only talk about the really bad ones, that's all anybody's ever going to hear.
Yeah, exactly. So that's like something that we like to enjoy talking about. Okay, so we are going to move on to our new segment, the video game Would You Rather. Okay, so I'm going to ask a question. Well, one of us is going to ask a question, and then we're going to go ahead and discuss which one would we rather do. Okay, so my first question to you guys would be, would you rather be able to only play one game for the rest of your life, or only be able to play alpha and beta versions of indie developer games?
I definitely would want to do the alpha and beta versions of indie games, because sometimes, okay, you only have two options, right?
Yeah.
It can either be really good and you're just like, whoa, this is actually really good, or so bad that it's just like, this is hilarious. And I really enjoy this in an ironic way.
I see.
I would have to say the same thing. Even if the alpha or beta versions of the indie game is really bad, you just don't play that one, and you play a different alpha beta indie game.
Because I feel like if you play the same game long enough, you will end up hating it, no matter how great the game is.
Yeah, I was even thinking for a second that maybe I would play like an MMORPG.
Right.
And that would be like super open, and I could put like a bajillion hours into it.
Right.
But I think after a while I would just get bored.
Yeah.
And stop playing it, and then that would mean I'd stop playing video games altogether.
Right.
So
that would just be
sounds
sad.
like a bummer.
I think if I was gonna be able to play only one game, I would actually try to choose League of Legends. That way, maybe I'll get good at it someday.
I try to choose.
Yeah, I mean, that would be the one I would pick. I'm gonna go with the one game because I don't actually want to play alpha or beta versions of anything.
Oh.
So.
Some beta versions.
I mean, you're playing
fine.
a beta right now.
Yeah, that's true. But it is Overwatch, and it's Blizzard.
But it's still a beta.
I specifically said indie developers, so
that's
I mean, sometimes they're good.
I'm gonna play a game from Blizzard. All right, this is a bit different. All right. All right. So, Ruben, what's your would you rather game?
Okay, mine is actually pretty similar. Would you rather play a very long, mediocre game or a very short, broken game?
Wow, that sounds terrible.
I think I would go with the long, mediocre game, because at least there would be some resolution. I hate when you're like going into a game and you actually find a place where it's broken and you can't continue, and you just have to stop because of the game, not because you want to, which is what happened to me when I tried playing Call of Duty 2, and there was an area where the enemies stopped loading in, but the NPCs thought that there were still more enemies, and I was just stuck waiting for the level to clear, and I was really mad.
I guess it depends on like how broken. Like if it's the thing where you can't like move on.
I would assume you can at least complete the game.
Okay. Then that's something different.
Yeah.
But it's just
just
tedious and hard because like the controls are bad and
like Sonic.
Yeah, like Sonic. But Sonic was a long broken game.
That's true.
Right.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
I think I would get more frustrated at the short game. Like at the end of the mediocre game, it's gonna be pretty dissatisfying, but I think I'll get over it. The short broken game is something that you'll just be angry about for like
that's true
really intensely for a while, and I don't know if I can handle that. Which one would you pick?
I'd probably pick the short broken game, just because like
out of experience, is it?
Yeah. I just play so many games that like I don't have time to invest a lot of time into a game I don't like. So if I was going to sit down for like, I don't know, just a couple hours, finish out this like super broken, horrible game and be like, at least I can say I did it.
Right, yeah.
Whereas like just a long, mediocre game, like nobody cares about those mediocre games.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
You only hear people talk about like the bad games.
Yeah. That's
Either
true.
the bad or the best.
Yeah.
All right, so Emily, what's your would you rather question?
Okay, mine is quite different.
Okay.
Would you rather play an action game where you can only melee or only use grenades?
I don't know.
Is it first person?
Yes.
Melee.
What if it was third person? Grenades?
Grenades.
Is it what's the difference for you?
First, it's like I said earlier, like first person when you're using melee or hand to hand, it feels so good. Third person hand to hand is bad.
That's
like,
true.
Trying to line your character's fists up with like the enemy in like a 360
right.
degree.
It gets really awkward.
Yeah, like times where I've been using melee character in like Fallout 3, and then I accidentally make it third person, and then I see my character like really gangly trying to punch people. I'm just like, that's not me. I don't like this.
Yeah. It's strange.
I think either way, I'm gonna say grenades. It's just way more fun.
Yeah.
If you just have unlimited, you just like launch all of them at once. It's just that'd make for an interesting game. You only have grenades.
Yeah.
But like
I would pick the
don't know.
grenades too. Like even if the game wasn't optimized so that you would use grenades, so it would send you like little enemies with like small hitboxes, so then you'd have to hit them with that. I would choose that anyway.
See, okay. So, my would you rather question, another one is, would you rather be able to own and catch Pokemon, but they can die if you lose, or own one Yoshi?
Pokemon.
Wait, they die if you like in a battle?
If in a battle and you lose, like
they battle to the death.
Yeah,
what if you
battle
don't?
to the death.
Well, then
yeah.
I just wouldn't battle them.
Yeah, Pokemon, and you just wouldn't battle them.
Do they die of old age?
Yeah.
I mean, everything dies of old age.
That's true.
Say,
It's just like having a regular pet. What if they had a really short lifespan though? Like a
I
week?
guess
It's just like
depends.
a regular pet.
Yeah.
what if it was like a week?
No, I mean, that'd be pretty sad.
I mean,
like some bug Pokemon.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, my Dragonite died after a week. He just withered and got old.
Time to get a new one, I
Yeah.
guess. If there's a lot of them, if they're rare, that would suck. But
So you would choose the Pokemon and not fight people.
Yeah,
Yes.
and then just not battle them. Like I've been asking Pokemon for a game where you do like can choose the other lifestyles of a Pokemon.
Oh
like,
yeah.
if they did
Yeah.
Pokemon mixed with like Harvest Moon. Would be cool.
That would be
because
really
like Brock
cool.
wanted to be a Pokemon breeder because
Yeah.
he really wanted to watch Pokemon get it on. Like that sounds fun.
Who doesn't? Or you could be like a Pokemon racer, or even like Pokemon Snap.
Yeah,
They didn't
exactly.
have any
yeah.
battling. You just take
Yeah.
pictures of them, and
Right?
everybody loved that.
Yeah, because there's so many people in Pokemon that you meet that work with Pokemon, but they aren't trainers.
Yeah,
You know?
they don't battle them, at least not like as a job.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Then there's like the Pokemon trainers though that have like really strange jobs, like the ladies with like whips and stuff, where they're like dominatrixes at night and then Pokemon trainers during the day. Like that sounds fun.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go with the Pokemon one too. I mean, as cool as one Yoshi might be, it's probably cooler to have a bunch of Pokemon.
Also,
So.
I feel like in real life, Yoshi would be really big and scary, and he would
Well-
eat like all of your fruit.
To be fair, Pokemon would probably be really big and scary too.
That's
But
true.
like in Pokemon, if there were Pokemon, you could have a Pokemon that was like Yoshi, just like a big reptilian Pokemon.
Exactly.
Right.
You could ride him around.
I don't know who I could think of like off the top of my head, but I'm
Sure
sure
there's
there's
somebody out
one.
there.
Yeah,
Like Shelder?
Shelder.
No, that's the clam
That's the
one.
clam one, yeah.
Shuckle.
Oh,
Shuckle?
Shuckle. Shuckle
Yeah.
is very small.
I know, but you could still ride him around.
I don't know if that
He's very
maybe
small.
you
Try
get
to
two
drag-
Shuckles and tie them to your feet.
Oh, there you go. And then they would go at different speeds.
They're very slow. If they move it, they hide inside of rocks most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Shuckles go very fast. I was thinking more like a Rhydon.
Oh yeah, you could.
That would probably work
could
because you
ride
actually,
on.
you
Yeah.
actually be able to mount ride-ons and go on them. I have a couple more questions. Would you guys want to do them?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
If they're bad, I'll just edit them out in post.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So my third question is here: Would you rather have to beat Dark Souls with a Guitar Hero controller or take a shot whenever you die in Bloodborne?
I feel like because you can get better at both of them, they're equally terrible.
I would say Bloodborne, because I feel like I would not get any better at playing Dark Souls with a Guitar Hero controller, and it would just become long and tedious.
That's true.
And no longer be fun after like
Yeah.
20 minutes.
It becomes a mediocre long game.
Yes.
Maybe like you'd get so drunk though from taking shots during Bloodborne that you would just pass out and stop having
Eventually,
to play
you
Bloodborne.
just pass out. Like, drink and play video games. Who doesn't want to do that?
Then just be frustrated with a Guitar Hero controller.
Yeah.
And then
Oh
eventually
yeah, I'm gonna
break
say
it.
Bloodborne too. All right, and then my fourth question. Oh, I forgot about this one. I just kind of wanted to ask it. So it's would you rather have Navi following you around like all your life, or have the adoring fan from Oblivion go everywhere you go and do everything you ask, but he couldn't die?
That one.
The adoring fan.
Yeah.
Yes.
I see.
Because then he could steal for me.
he
He could cheat for me.
Exactly.
He wouldn't die. He would get arrested, but then he would come back. It would
Would
be
he
great.
come back though, or would he just spend his life in jail?
I imagine he just randomly he pops
He
back
just
up
ports
and
in.
he ports in. He's like, "Hey, I escaped from jail. Nice to see you." You know.
And then he never stops liking you, so you
Yeah.
can keep having him do ridiculously terrible things.
Yeah.
He could like take your cat to the vet. You know, like he could buy you milk when you
Grocery
run out.
shopping. You
Yeah.
know.
It's just like adoring fan. I don't have milk for my cereal.
What if you're like trying to
Go
sleep?
steal me some.
I guess.
You're trying to sleep, and then you just hear like, "Buy Azura! It's the champion!" You know, and then you're just like, "It's 2 a.m." Adoring fan.
Why would
Come
he
on.
say
Then
that?
you tell him to go away.
Yeah, you say like go
a good point.
lay somewhere.
Yeah.
But the Navi would be
Go
like,
back to
listen,
sleep at the foot of my bed.
Yeah.
oh god, lay under my bed and do not come out until I get up.
Back to your closet, fan.
I think for me, I actually would pick Navi because she can actually like go away sometimes. So
She like goes inside of you though.
yeah,
Would you want that?
it's not as bad as
You want
having
Navi
a
inside of
dude.
you?
You want her like in your ear or something?
I don't know.
Where does she go?
I don't have
don't
no
know.
idea. It just like goes into your
Into
like
Link's,
into your shirt.
like wherever he keeps all his stuff.
Oh yeah. His bombs.
His magic pockets.
G space is what they call that.
I did not know that.
When there's
Yeah.
like when your character obviously doesn't have like room for all
Yeah,
this stuff.
when he doesn't have like deep enough pockets for all stuff, and he just kind of like tucks it away into nowhere. They call that putting it into G space.
Do you know where that comes
Interesting.
from?
I have no idea. I just heard it on the internet a few times.
That's
Wow.
pretty cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, because there's like so many people that do that.
Yeah, like in Fallout.
Yeah, like all the
Just-
guns.
Yeah, it just
Random
happens all the time.
Things of turpentine, you know,
Yeah.
All those tiny pieces of plastic.
screws.
Screws.
All right, so that's all our. Would
So
you
was
rather
that
questions?
the answer to your most what was? What
Oh
was
yeah, yeah. So the question was, what character bothered you the most? It'd probably be the adoring fan. from
Oh, I
Oblivion.
see.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever got far enough in the game to have the adoring fan.
Oh yeah,
follow me around.
you just had to win all the arena stuff and become like the arena champion.
Oh, see, because I didn't do combat. I don't know if I've told this story on the podcast before, but when I played Oblivion, I put all my skill points into things like stealth, speech, like all that kind of stuff. Not very much combat.
Did it work?
No, because as you level up, the enemies around you level up with you. So you'll go into a dungeon at one point and it'll have like some weak like goblin in there, and later you go in and it's like a higher level skeleton. Like everything levels up around you. So if you don't put skill points into combat stuff, you just die.
Oh no.
That's a problem.
And
Like
then you
have
can't like help it because you can't grind off of like small things.
Yeah, because there's no small things around you.
Huh.
I actually ended up getting trapped on top of a rock by a troll. I kept shooting arrows at him, but trolls regenerate health.
Oh yeah.
So he was regenerating health at the same rate that I was dealing damage.
Oh my god.
And he just trapped me on top of a rock.
You had a very interesting Oblivion experience.
Right.
I spent a lot of time chasing deer as well.
Oh. Do they lead you to interesting places?
Yeah.
With
I mean,
trolls?
sometimes I liked going into those like ancient elf dungeons.
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
But like as you leveled up, they got filled with really hard enemies.
Right.
Yeah. All right, so those are all our Would You Rather questions. Now we're gonna go ahead and transition to some news. For the news that I have and I want to discuss a little bit about is recently there's been a Kickstarter game that was funded by people, and it was called Bear Simulator. So what happened with Bear Simulator is that it got a bunch of money, and the person made it. However, it's not the highest quality game. It was a single developer. It was very mediocre.
It had to have been his first game.
Yeah, right? I think it's definitely his first game. He got a lot of money for it, though.
Yeah, but he did get a lot of money to produce a very mediocre game.
I mean,
I hate to kick the guy while he's down, but like, it wasn't.
Hold on, let me go ahead and explain a little bit more of the situation here. So, this guy Kickstarter made Bear Simulator, right? Very mediocre. PewDiePie, everybody knows PewDiePie on YouTube. Probably the biggest YouTube celebrity, actually.
Who happens to be a gamer.
Who is a gamer. He did a video on Bear Simulator, and he didn't like it. He made comments about how the game just didn't feel good. And then he started to make some comments towards the developer, saying the developer was, doing... Well, he actually said developers. I think he assumed there was more than one guy. So that might be kind of a thing. But he said the developers did a terrible job with this game. He wants a refund of his game. And he also gave the developers, which, remember, there's only one, the middle finger at the end of the video. And this actually caused the single developer to get really upset because he was getting a lot of criticism on his Steam page by people who watched the PewDiePie video. And he just got a bunch of negative reviews from people who didn't even own the game, and that just caused him to... He wasn't able to handle it, so he said he's going to finish doing like the next update and then just going to stop with Bear Simulator altogether, probably stop making games altogether. And there's actually a comment from Cliffy B, the person who leaded the Gears of War series. So he's a big developer. He actually tweeted out saying, on one side, I do feel like the internet is a very mean place. On the other side, and then I feel bad for the guy, but on the other side, welcome to the video game industry. So, I'm there. So there's a couple different. I looked in the comments. There's a couple different sides of this. They're saying, this indie video game developer, he's only one guy. The product wasn't fully complete because he was doing updates on it constantly, so it wasn't at the best place that it could have been. Give the guy a chance before we shoot him down. And the other side, it's just, you gotta suck it up. Just don't let these people get to you. Finish the game because you made such a mediocre game when all these people backed you up. And then the other side is PewDiePie should be careful of what he says. So there's a lot going on. Just what do you guys think?
Well, I think that thing, the fact that him releasing an unfinished game means you can't judge it in its entirety is nonsense to me. If you put a game out, finished or not, you have to be ready that people are going to critique it how it is on release.
Yeah.
If you don't want people critiquing an unfinished game, finish your game. Don't send it out and be like, oh, well, I'll finish it in a bit. And then when people are mad at you for having a crappy, unfinished game, act all surprised. Because people would do the same thing to, a AAA developer that sent out a crappy game.
For sure. Assassin's Creed Unity.
Yeah. We would cut people down for releasing a crappy game, regardless of what their reason is. If it's a bad game, people are going to cut it down. That being said, the people who watch PewDiePie need to calm down. I don't think PewDiePie needs to censor himself at all or anything like that. I'm very against censorship. But if you haven't bought and played the game, don't go and give the guy a hard time just because PewDiePie gave it a bad review.
Yeah.
Play it, form your own opinions, then you can say whatever you want.
Of course, that comes with having a huge audience of 13-year-olds.
Yeah.
He's their god to them. And another thing, too, is that there have been games that have been made by just one person and have come out straight out of release and been great. Right now, Stardew Valley. is a really good example of that, where it was made by one person, and it's a beautiful game. It's wonderfully made. It's like Minecraft and Harvest Moon mixed together, but all the best parts, and it's highly addictive, it's beautiful, it's adorable, and it's great. So we know it can be done. And I mean, with a game like, even the title, Bear Simulator, like, what are you expecting from this? You know, like, I feel like PewDiePie was playing it ready to be like, this game sucks, but it's just really strange, because it's Bear Simulator. Like, come on.
Like, I feel like it was obvious they were trying to go off the reputation of Goat Simulator. Everybody's trying to rip off Goat Simulator.
Yeah.
That was actually pointed out by PewDiePie, in that he was trying to cash in into the whole simulator thing.
And so, like, if you're gonna try and cash in off Goat Simulator, at least try and make it, like, on par with Goat Simulator.
Yeah.
Goat Simulator by no means was a masterpiece of a game.
No, and I think that was the point. But it was, well done.
It was well done. It was interesting enough to play, like, for 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, get some cheap laughs.
Yeah, get some cheap laughs, uninstall it, and forget about it.
Right.
Whereas Bear Simulator, you paid, I want to say they're the same price, Goat Simulator and Bear Simulator.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're going to charge people money for this product and, like, try and sell it as another one of these simulator games, and when it's not what they're expecting, you're gonna get a lot of harsh criticism.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's something good that you pointed out is that, like, if you put out a game, you gotta expect the criticism that comes with it when you put it out, if it's unfinished or not. And the weird part that I noticed was that AAA we make fun of, but their reasoning behind it is that they have a publishing company, they have to fit a time constraint. But for an indie developer, that doesn't make any sense. You have all the time in the world. Why did you release it when you actually could have spent as long as you wanted? Actually, I know a couple Kickstarter games. The one I've been following, Kingdom Come Deliverance. Supposed to come out this year or something. I've been watching it since like 2 years ago, and it was like supposed to come out last year winter, but they're like, you know what, we're gonna move it and some more. That's probably a better idea than releasing it early.
Yeah.
Well, I think the thing with this type of game is that the hype for Bear Simulator is really trying to come off of the hype of Goat Simulator, and if you wait too long to release it, the hype has died.
Yeah.
And so
it's just strange to me that he was trying to cash in on it with like a worse version, when really if you really want like the success, you need to make it like really well made, or else people will just be like, what is this?
Yeah.
And it's already not even a good concept for a game already.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know for sure that he was trying to cash in on the success of Goat Simulator, but I'm gonna
I'm not 100%.
I'm gonna assume he
just
was
99%.
Just 99%.
Just like anybody who makes a simulator game these days is trying to cash in on, like, it's what they call PewDieBait. You make a game, you release it, you hope PewDiePie plays it for like a quick 10-minute video. Yeah. And all his 13-year-olds go out and buy it.
Yes, if he likes it.
It's an effective strategy. I mean, I think I've definitely seen that before.
That's why games like I Am Bread or I Am Toast or whatever that one was. Goat Simulator really kicked that off. I don't think that's what Goat Simulator was going for, but like when Goat Simulator came out, PewDiePie played it, it sold a lot, and everybody was like, oh, that's a business strategy we can use.
Yeah, I think as long as big YouTubers are targeting games that can cause laughter or horror factor, that's definitely a market that's just going to keep coming out, going to feed that audience.
Games with cheap jump scares will always be in, because, I feel like if someone like Markiplier or PewDiePie can't think of a game to play, they'll reach for a horror game because it's always kind of fun to watch, because it might be scary to you, and then their reaction is always ridiculous, and they're screaming, and it's just really cheap entertainment.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys had heard of, when PewDiePie started playing Skate 3, a game that when he started playing was already like pretty old and I think off the shelves, or if it was on the shelf, it was like super clearanced
on
out.
its way out. Yeah.
Like he played it. It got very popular, and they started reprinting it.
Really?
I remember when that happened. I was working at Toys R Us, and we got a big shipment of Skate 3. And I was like, what? This game came out a long time ago, and it was not good then. It's still not good.
Yeah. How much, like, I mean, this is, like, conspiracy-ish, but, like, how much do you think part of his video game choices can be affected by, like, money? You know, like,
Probably
any big YouTuber, like... There's like a very very subtle offer to play like this game, like we'll just say I am Toast or something, like maybe the guy contacted him like, hey, you want a free game, I'll give you like a lot of money too or something, like I'll give you $500. Do you think this is possible? Do you think this is like...
I feel like it doesn't happen as often as you'd think it would. I feel like very often when it does, I know I watched PewDiePie on a few different times where he's done that before. But he always makes it very
obvious.
Like he states outright that like the developer paid me to play this, or they gave me like a Steam key for this so I could play it for you guys. And most YouTubers I watch on YouTube do that before they play the game, or like make it very obvious in like the title of the game or like their video or something.
Okay, I'm glad there's still transparency in that, because as soon as YouTube becomes a place where it's just like secret marketing, just like feeding like and like this publicity, it just becomes a sad place.
No, I think that's why YouTube is so entertaining to watch, like for all these video games things, because these guys who have started doing this are just gamers, like and they all seem to be like genuinely nice people. Like the people who make it big always seem to be like the nicest people. Even PewDiePie, when you watch him not doing his PewDiePie show, like he seems like a much more calm, down to earth,
like if you
nice
ever see
guy.
him in like other people's videos, just like that he's in, he's always like super chill. He's actually really funny just organically, he's not forcing it.
Yeah, and that's what anybody on YouTube would tell you, is that they have their YouTube personality, and then there's their real personality. Like nobody plays video games like sitting on their couch screaming at the top of their lungs, doing all this crazy motion and stuff. Like when you slump down on the couch, you go slack-jawed, your eyes glaze over, and you play a video game.
Of course, no one wants to watch that.
Nobody wants to watch that as a video. But, like, nobody could keep up with, like, doing what PewDiePie does in real life.
Yeah.
Like, that would just be exhausting for more than, like, 10-minute segments. So...
All right, well, let's go ahead and transition to Ruben. You have some interesting news as well?
Yes, I have some interesting news. So I found out recently, what is that game called? Fable Legends was canceled.
No.
And... I was not super excited for that game. I would probably play it when it came out, but I didn't have any hype for it or anything like that. But I looked into it a little bit more, and turns out Microsoft is actually closing a couple developers. Like, one is already closed down, and there's talk of closing down Lionhead, the head developer of all the Fable games, which would be a major blow because that's a pretty big company who've made some really big games and have talks of making more big games.
Yeah.
But apparently Microsoft said they were hoping to put their backing behind games whose development the customers were most interested in, or something like that.
Oh.
That's a really weird phrasing.
Yeah, I don't know if that was their... it's something like that.
Whenever it comes down to big business, their phrasing is always very specific and vague.
Vague at the same time.
But, so I assume they're talking about things like Minecraft.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Minecraft and Halo, specifically.
Yep, no, that's the moneymakers, cash cows right there.
Yeah.
I guess my opinion is that Fable had a very good run until it hit like the end of Fable 3. Like I enjoyed the Fable series, as most people did, but I think most people will tell you that either Fable 1 or Fable 2 was their favorite. I don't think anyone will tell you Fable 3 or any of the like additional. I think there was a couple more other Fable related games, but I don't think anyone will tell you that was their favorite. So I have respect for Peter Molyneux. But I have to say, I'm not too sad that Lionhead is closing down, because I feel like Fable 1 and Fable 2 were like their magnum opus. They made their best games already, and I really don't expect that much from them anymore.
I was curious to see how they were going to do with Fable Legends, though, because that wasn't going to be an actual like the open world Fable game. It was going to be like a multiplayer, almost like a dungeon crawl, where like a couple people picked like from a few select characters, like champion style League of Legends Dota stuff, and one person played like the dungeon keeper who controlled all the other stuff. I guess it was going to be a very asymmetrical multiplayer game, which I thought could be really interesting, something that, you know, other developers haven't really tried yet. Like, there's been a few different asymmetrical games, like Evolve and a few other things, but, like, nothing that's really struck home what it should be. And so I was curious to see if they could pull it off. And that game's been in development for a long time.
By asymmetrical, do you mean there's just, like, 3 against 1 or something like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're, like... Hopefully they would be balanced, but, like, yeah, it would just be, like, all these people against, like, one guy, and that would be, like, the game.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about Fable Legends, but it sounds like a really interesting concept. Yeah, I mean, like, the thing that everybody gave Peter Molyneux, the head director, I believe, of Lionhead Studios, he was the idea man, right? So he... everybody gave him credit for coming out with like really unique ideas, and we really enjoyed that out of Peter Molyneux. But their execution has been really off lately. So it's just I like the idea. Like all the ideas from him sound like really cool and unique, but it's just they haven't been able to like get it for a while.
I mean, I would say they just had a bad run with Fable 3. But, like, that was a long time ago, and I don't know what else they've released since then.
I think that's the problem, though, is that they haven't made a name for themselves in the recent past.
Yeah, that's probably why they're being shut down, because Microsoft doesn't see them as a moneymaker anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. I just wonder, like, Fable Legends has been in production for so long. Should Microsoft have waited until, like, I wonder how close it got to being finished and releasable.
It might have been one of those things where they kept asking for extensions on it, and eventually Microsoft was like, you know what, it's not worth it. We're just going to stop.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, interesting situation there, where maybe it would have been a really big gamble for Microsoft to continue their project. Like, just to keep pouring more money out, and then hopefully it does well enough to, you know, have a return on their investment. But to be honest, I'm not that surprised. And even, like, I feel like if they go down, Peter Molyneux has something that you can't take away, which is his ideas. You can hire him to be in some other video game company that could possibly execute those ideas way better. So
I'm sure all the people will manage to find. Well, I shouldn't say all. I'm sure somebody out there has lost a job and it's completely broken and will never find work again. But most of the people there have like enough skill and talent that they'll find work elsewhere.
Yeah.
But it's still the downfall of a large empire company.
Which is definitely something.
Which is always sad when like such a big name like just gets shut down.
Okay, so Emily, do you have some news for us as well?
Yes, actually, my news has to do with the rumor, confirmed rumor, of The Last of Us 2, which something that I've been really looking forward to ever since I played The Last of Us. I think almost immediately after it came out, people talked about them making another one, because it's an interesting game in that the way it ends, not much happens between the beginning and the ending.
Well, before we get into endings, let's throw out a spoiler warning for anybody who hasn't played it, which includes me, but I'm going to... I'll sit through the ending.
Just bear with it.
Yeah, I'll just bear with it.
But, well, that's about it. Not much happens, so you could really go anywhere from there. Because all the characters are still intact, you can just keep making content with them. And it was actually confirmed by Nolan North, the voice actor for Nathan Drake. He's in a lot of games, but that's like the most notable one. So he's very closely tied to Naughty Dog. And he was revealed that Naughty Dog was busy working on The Last of Us 2, like kind of just offhandedly in a Q&A. And that's pretty much it. I guess that's all he knew about it, because of course people asked him and he didn't know anything else. So just based on some rumors, we know that it probably won't come out for a while, because Naughty Dog isn't one of those developers that comes up with games really fast. You know, it takes like maybe 2 or 3 years between release. So estimated release is set between 2018 and 2019 at least. And then other things that have come up too is I heard it might have a different name. It might not be The Last of Us 2. It might be a completely new one. And also there's talk that Ellie, the girl in The Last of Us 1, will be the main character. And from that, you can sort of guess that it's set in the future. Because if Joel isn't in it, then he was kind of old in the first one. If it's set in the future, he wouldn't be there. Ellie would be the main character, which I really like the idea of, because then the world they created in The Last of Us is so interesting that I would really like to know what it would be like 10 years or 20 years after the events of the first one happened. So that would be really cool. Also, I don't know, I kind of want there to be a moment where Ellie finds out what Joel did in the first one, because she doesn't really know, and I think that would be really cool, because Naughty Dog is really good at having those like action-y parts, but also the emotional story-based parts, and I think they could really make a masterpiece out of Last of Us 2, and I'm really excited.
Yeah, really exciting stuff.
I still gotta play the first one. I always hear good things about it, but I don't have like a PS3 or PS4, so...
I would even suggest watching it, because it's such a wonderful story that you don't actually need to play it to get all... I mean, you know, like, watching it is actually enough, and it's great.
Funny story with that, too, is we actually tried playing it, The Last of Us 1, and it's pretty much all based around sneaking mechanics, and... Personally, I hate sneaking in video games. I'm terrible at it. I just want to run forward. It's so boring to me. I'm really bad at it. And then it would have things where you have to like throw things and try to distract people and then learn their pathing, and I wasn't about it at all. But none of the weapons in the game are that great because they're all very impromptu. And so you can't really run through and just kill people. So I actually quit playing. It was too hard for me because I just hate sneaking. So we ended up having to watch it, and I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't regret not playing through it because I wouldn't have been able to get through it.
I can understand that if a game would just get too like tedious to get through.
Yeah.
Yeah. One more bit of news since the last time we recorded, the new Pokemon has been announced. Which is
Sun
amazing.
and Moon.
Sun and Moon.
Mm-hmm. All the memes.
All the memes. I'm so excited. I've been waiting for this since...
the last ones came out?
The last ones came out in like 2000... I want to say it was like 14.
Yeah.
When the last ones came out.
I think my question to you guys would be, in Pokemon Sun and Moon... from each version to each version, they try to throw in something kind of new. Mm-hmm. Sun and Moon, the day and night cycle has been done before in Silver and Gold. So what do you think is they're trying to what do you think a new mechanic they're trying to put into this game is?
Maybe you actually go to the moon.
That's insane. I like that. But then you can't go to the sun, so I don't know.
Maybe maybe
you can go.
Maybe they have a station.
Maybe the sun is a Pokemon.
Oh, maybe the moon and the sun. Yeah,
well, and you have to battle them.
Right.
Those are the legendaries. You catch
insane.
The sun and moon.
There you go. Wasn't that supposed to be like Silver and Gold? Like Lugia was like the moon, and then Ho-Oh was like the sun. Wasn't that?
I think so.
It was something like that. Yeah.
So this is kind of strange, but I like the sun and moon.
I mean, there's
idea.
already so many Pokemon that have to do with the sun, and there's
Right,
two
Yeah.
Pokemon who are literally
Rocks of the
That's
Rock
true.
Sun and Rock Moon,
yeah.
and so people are already wondering like, oh, are they gonna have any sort of special place in this, or
Yeah.
like, Clefairies are supposed to be from the moon?
Oh
That's
yeah, they're
true,
actually
yeah.
supposed to be from there.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Oh.
maybe there's a possibility you can actually go to the moon.
There's
That'd be
also
really
little
interesting.
alien Pokemon already. Like, I don't remember what their names are, but they just look like the little gray classic aliens.
Oh, that's kind of creepy.
Yeah, they are really creepy.
Kind of like when they came up with the unknowns, and it took
Oh,
me
yeah.
forever, and then I realized they were just letters. I was just like, what is this?
Oh. Yeah, they were letters and punctuation.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
You hear question mark and exclamation point. But I don't know. I'm so excited for this. I have been playing a ton of Pokemon, like, just recently.
Mm-hmm.
I picked
Getting
it back
hyped.
up. Getting hyped up. Pokken comes out in, pretty soon
Less
here,
than a
too.
week?
Yeah, less than a week. I have that pre-ordered. I don't like pre-ordering things, but I pre-ordered Pokken. But yeah, I'm jazzed.
All right, yeah. I'm really excited for Sun and Moon as well, and we'll make sure to talk about it once we learn any bit of news about it. So now we're gonna go ahead and transition to our bold prediction segment, where we watch trailers and tell you what we think. So the 3 games that we watched trailers of is Quantum Break, Kirby Planet Robobot, and then Iconoclasts. The first one we're going to talk about is Quantum Break. So what we know about the game is that it's Xbox exclusive, and I think for computers as well, so Microsoft exclusive. And it follows the story about this guy who's able to stop time, and he's able to use that power in gameplay, like by shooting people. I actually don't know how else he uses the power, but it seems very like super story based. Like they're gonna make a video game, a video series with live action actors in it as well that ties into your choices in the game. Is there anything else that you guys know about the game?
I found out today that because it does have the live action video sequences that are all based around like choices you make in the game. When you play the game on console, you have to download every single one of those video files to your console, which could take a while. But if you're playing it on PC, you have to be hooked to the internet and streaming the game in order to get these videos.
Ooh, yeah.
So if you don't have internet and you somehow manage to get the game, you won't be... I don't know if you just can't play it or you just won't be able to see the sequences or what, but
I guess I figure if your computer is good enough to run the game, it's good enough to stream it.
yeah.
But that would be unfortunate if your computer wasn't good enough to do both.
Yeah.
That would be really unfortunate.
Yeah, it's quite a demanding thing of a game to do that. But I mean, interesting feature nonetheless. Something new. I don't think we've really had something like this in the past. So
we'll see how
really
it goes.
Interesting.
If it's written well enough, it could be
So
great.
yep, we'll just go ahead and go into our predictions here. So we saw the trailer. It showed a lot of the gameplay. It looked very actiony.
A lot of explosions,
a lot of
in
explosions.
lot of shooting.
slow-mo.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Stopping time,
You guys
keeping it going.
think this game will
Regular
be fun?
time going at the speed of regular time.
Fascinating. I think it looks fun. I don't think it's doing things that are too new, but that's like sometimes that's a good thing where it's like pretty standard like a third person shooter but with like something really cool added in, something new. I think it'd be fun. I think it'd be worth renting and testing out for a weekend.
I don't know. I think it'll be alright. I'm not looking at it to be the next, huge hit or anything like that. I'll
No,
wait for
yeah.
the reviews to come out and see how it does before I pick this one up.
Mm-hmm.
If I pick it up.
Something that it seems to be doing is it has like a whole live action part with like actual actors. They're investing a lot of money in this game.
Oh yeah.
Which means there's gonna be a lot of advertisements for this, and if the problem is that there's so much getting put into this. If it's not the game of the year, I feel like it's gonna disappoint a lot.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm not sure. The trailer only showed a little bit of gameplay. I'm not sure if you can go to like if there's different areas or if there's like any sort of puzzle mechanics.
Yeah, it
or...
just seems like you're like it seemed like in this sequence he was trying to break into somewhere or something, or break out of somewhere. Like, for some reason, there were a lot of police that he was shooting. I don't know what the deal with that was. I don't know the story.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you go, like, there's stealth missions that you get to use, like, time stuff for. Or...
Yeah, I would have appreciated more varied examples of what the game is actually going to be. Because if it literally is just you walking through, like, a courtyard and shooting, like, in every area, that doesn't seem that great. But I would hope that there's different sequences.
Yeah, I guess in the end, it looks fun. Not something we're all together convinced on.
I'm not going to pre-order it.
No.
I'm not going to buy the whole game if it gets bad reviews.
No, yeah, I mean, I'm going to say, like, I don't know. Looks solid, but definitely just not, like, not catching enough. I don't know. Not, like, attention
I can
catching
wait.
enough. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Maybe after a while they'll show more of it, the hype will pick up.
Yeah.
But just based on this trailer alone, I don't think it's going to be... Personally, I don't think it's going to be anything too crazy. Or like that.
By the way, we'll go ahead and link all the trailers that we watched onto our Facebook page so that you can understand what we're talking about a little bit better. So we'll go ahead and move on to our next game, Iconoclasts. It's a PlayStation exclusive. So what do we know about it? It's like a 2D platformer. There's some combat in there.
It looks very Metroidvania.
Yeah, like you said.
Very story-based.
Also, yeah, there's a lot of text.
Very story-based.
A lot of, they specifically showed, like 6 different characters or something, and I think they just want you to tie with their, like, get into their story more than the combat of it. So...
Did not make for an exciting trailer, that's
for
sure.
Yeah.
Because we don't know what's going on.
The art style is kind of like pixely.
Yeah, it's very like I want to say it's like 16-bit,
something like that.
Looks
Maybe
a lot
it's
like
32-bit.
I feel like the areas, like the kind of city-escape aspect of it, reminds me a lot of Mega Man. Like the overhanging, like streetlights and everything look very similar. The houses look similar.
I think the problem with this trailer was there was a lot of story involved where I didn't like.
We don't know anything.
We don't know anything about the story, so I wasn't invested in any of it.
Exactly.
And the environments and things that they showed were very calm and surreal.
They're very boring, to be honest.
Yeah, very boring. But the music and everything wanted it to be very epic.
Yeah.
But it didn't feel that way.
It was like a street and some trees. And
some
was just
people
like...
standing and talking to each other.
Yeah.
There was a lot of times where characters were just standing around text box over their head.
Yeah.
So predictions, you know, I don't, like, after watching this trailer, I don't even want to play it.
I don't feel interested at all. There's too many games like this already.
If it gets good reviews, I'll check it out, but I don't plan on it being anything too spectacular.
Unlike our next game.
So yeah, we'll move on to our next game. This one is Kirby Planet Robobot, and what we know about it is that it's for the 3DS, and it has to deal with so Kirby is back, able to swallow up people. And in this new edition, he gets into a mech, and then he's able to copy other people's abilities.
He scans them.
He scans them,
and then the mech gets their abilities.
Yeah, we saw it can fly. It can get, like, umbrella helicopter blades. It can get, like, a drill. It can get swords.
Like a saw thing.
It can get giant, like, energy swords.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like this game is, like, Kirby's reawakening. Like, he's busting back onto the scene. He's ready to swallow things and take names. And I am 100% in on it, and I want to get it. I want to get the amiibos. I want to get the little amiibo skins. I want it.
Yeah, I want to tell you guys who are listening, if you can, go watch the trailer. It's actually really exciting. They did a really good job of pacing all the new things, and also not only do they have a single player campaign, but they threw in like this free multiplayer game up to 4 people that you could play with your friends who don't even own the game.
Yeah, it has the direct download. Is that what that's called?
I think so.
Download play or something?
Download play.
Yeah.
The thing where you can all play on like one game cartridge, where like You put the game in, you download it, you take the cartridge out, you put it in another person's thing. You do that over and over.
So not everyone has to buy it.
Yeah.
For the multiplayer
everybody
game specifically.
should buy it.
Yes, please.
And they a lot of the amiibos interact with what Kirby's abilities are. It's really cool because they it looks like they put in a lot of work to put in a lot of cool new interactions, and that's pretty sweet.
I'm very excited.
Yeah.
Bold prediction: I'm going to buy it, and I'm going to like it.
I'll probably pre-order it if it comes with a cool amiibo.
Ooh, yes.
If it comes with Waddle Dee, pre-order it.
Oh yeah, and with the game, they're releasing a new line of amiibos based on Kirby. So they're coming out with Waddle Dee, King Dedede,
Meta
Knight, and Kirby.
Kirby riding on his little star rider.
Star.
Yeah.
Yeah, something
adorable.
about this trailer was just way more exciting than the other two. Is it because we recognize Kirby, or is it because like he actually gets like cool new things that we didn't think about?
I think it was the way it was presented. It was, of course, because we all love Kirby already because we know what he's about. I saw the mech part and I was worried it was going to be something like Epic Yarn or the paintbrush one, where it was like there was going to be one specific gimmick and it wasn't going to be very much like a real Kirby game.
Yeah, the same mech the whole game.
Yeah, but it seems like it's back to its original formula where you take your enemy's abilities and use it against them. There's big bosses, like out of this world bosses, and including the multiplayer, which looks super cool.
The theme of it seems a little more like, because before Kirby's are always very cute. But the theme of this one is that, like, robots are taking over. So it's sort of, like, more vicious than usual. Because, like, sure, it would be like aliens, but they would always be very round, you know? But these are, like, bladed, hard, scary...
Giant
robots against this little pink guy. Like, we gotta make Kirby be able to fight them off. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, I think it's actually really cool that it's on 3DS handheld. Because when something's like a PlayStation 4 exclusive, I guess Iconoclasts was also on PlayStation Vita, but I guess it can also go on PS4. But like things that come out for like the big next gen consoles, you kind of have a expectation, and then I feel like for handhelds, it's always really cool because it's kind of the expectations are kind of different.
Yeah,
and then you always can get surprised by anything really high quality, like what we saw in that trailer.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we all unanimously agree that our bold prediction for Kirby Planet Robobot is just going to be a fantastic game.
Yes.
All right, so now we're going to go ahead and transition to our big ramble. It's going to be yearly releases versus quality releases. So in the mindset of AAA developers, that's where we're going to think about it for first. So should you keep producing a game every year as a sustainable business model, or take longer to make a possibly higher quality game that could produce less profit? So what's your guys' thoughts?
It depends on whether or not people are still buying the game. In a game's case like Call of Duty, where it feels like each one is just breaking the previous one's record, just keep releasing them.
Yeah.
Like, as far as I know, there hasn't been a Call of Duty release that's been, like, too broken on release.
Yeah, for the most part.
And something that's interesting to me, too, is that recently, every time they have a new Call of Duty game that comes out, I always hear people saying, like, oh, it was actually pretty good, or, oh, I heard the new Call of Duty game was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
So we said that even, actually.
Yeah, like I've heard that the newest one is actually
we still
pretty
haven't
good.
rented it and played it. We gotta do that sometime.
But, like, if they keep doing it every year, and they're, like, continuously well-made and, like, satisfying, I don't see why not. And I can see, like, upside to that, where people kind of play through the game, they get tired of it, or they 100% it, and then they're ready for the next one, and then they get that instant gratification of, they get a new one, and then they get to play that one. And I can see why people can continuously buy these if they're continuously good, and why there's really no problem with the developer just getting all the money they can if people are entertained.
Yeah, I mean, really, there's only so much you can do with an FPS game like Call of Duty.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like they're starting to do all the things they can do.
Yeah.
They're going to the future with jetpacks, and they've been to, like, World War II, and they've shot zombies, and now aliens and ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, so long as they keep pumping them out, and each one is different enough to please their fan base into buying, like, each new iteration, like, yeah, definitely. Just keep pumping them out. Why not?
Another example of this too is sports games, where like they're like every sport comes out with a game, and I've never personally played any sports games, but I know people are really into like FIFA and like NBA, you know, and stuff like that. And I can see how people would follow a team, they really like a sports team, and they get really into it, and then to be able to play that each season with that season's players would be pretty exciting, you know. They get to like live out their fantasies of playing this game even if they can't, you know.
And I think really the only one I've ever heard like going downhill would be like the wrestling one, WWE.
Oh yeah.
Right,
Every year I hear like it's a little bit worse than it used to be. I don't know if that's like,
I know people are actually picking up UFC, the game now.
Oh, yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
that's I guess, you know, going down on WWE but going up on UFC, and then if they can keep making that a new thing every year because you get new fighters all the time, and it's just I mean, as much as it sucks, it's a good business model, you know. You get the money that you need, and also certain people are satisfied with this, so it's you know, it works, and that's the thing about it.
I think it's perfectly fine. Like, I know there's some people who have a big problem with it, but I never have.
I feel like, though, if it went into certain games that are more story-based, like if they came out with a Halo every year, and the story just kept getting dragged on, they kept killing people, bringing them back, adding things on, stretching it out, then it would become really annoying, similar to Assassin's Creed. But what Assassin's Creed keeps like adding new timelines and killing people and having new people come in, different eras and everything. And I think just because the game is more story-based, it's a lot harder to stretch it out as much as they have. Whereas like with Call of Duty or sports games, it's basically the same thing every time. But like the story really kills it.
And I think Assassin's Creed is really the
big one.
The big example for not wanting to do things this way, because Assassin's Creed has had its ups and downs. It's had some really bad ones, it's had some really good ones, and really people are starting to like become wary of buying Assassin's Creed games on release, just because they can be so buggy and broken and just not enjoyable in their current state when they come out.
Yeah, I guess it comes down to if they can release a game every year, have the content be solid and have it not be too broken, then go for it.
Right. Let's take a look at the other side. So
before we do that, I wanted to bring up one point. We kind of been showing Call of Duty some praise here, but we have to remember that Call of Duty has 3 different developers working on new games.
Yeah, I think it's either 3 or 2 or something
every year. So like really, when you see a new game come out, that game's probably been in work for like a couple years now.
More than just a few months.
I think Assassin's Creed is just all, who is it, Ubisoft who does Assassin's Creed?
Yeah.
And I think it's really just that team trying to put out a thing every year. So if you can manage something where like Call of Duty has a bunch of different teams making a new one to release yearly, then it'll definitely work out in your favor versus having the same team try and pump out like a brand new game every single year.
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah. So now let's go ahead and switch to the mind of like normal gamers, not AAA developers. There's a lot of desire for higher quality games. Is there anything you guys have opinions about that, or no?
I mean, as a gamer and somebody who, I would consider buying like a yearly game, but if I really had a problem with it, the best thing you can do is just not buy it.
Right.
So I've never had a problem with developers putting out a yearly game, good or bad. just because I've never bought a Call of Duty or Assassin's Creed game. I've
Right.
borrowed them, played them, rented them at one point or another, but I've never just went out there and bought one.
That's true. Yeah.
So I really have no opinion on, like, should companies stop doing this or should they keep doing it? Like, I personally couldn't care less.
I've bought like Assassin's Creed and like Call of Duty games in the very early stages. I think I stopped at like Modern Warfare 2 and Assassin's Creed 2. But my problem with like the yearly releases, it works, but I feel like if this is a thing that everyone wants to do, I mean, there's always going to be other people that don't follow this trend, but we're getting into quite like lengthy sequel numbers for certain games, like Call of Duty, Assassin's Creed, even like the Battlefield series, and then we have even Halo's getting to like 5 and 6 now. It's just we're gonna get a constant, or we are in one, just constant like just trends of not original IPs. And I mean, I realize there's always going to be I realize that like there's always going to be other developers who develop new IPs, but I think there could be really cool potential for, if those guys stop trying to make these sequels, they could make other kind of cool games. And that I think that's the big problem. Like, for example, so Call of Duty gets made every year. Assassin's Creed gets made every year, or used to. I think I said I saw somewhere Assassin's Creed is actually going to take time to make their games now.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Learned their lesson over there.
Source needed for that. Citation needed. I just saw it somewhere. But so the if you compare the two, between all those yearly releases and like a lot of the games that were given good awards at the end of 2015, those were the one given the awards, namely just like The Witcher 3. That game took a lot of time, and it has a lot of polishing, and it was a lot of giving fans, like, it was like a lot of fan service, but in the way of like what they really wanted out of a game, rather than just like trying to attract their interest. And I think that's really important. I think that's important that game developers should take time to actually come up with something that goes beyond whatever they're just required to finish. So like the people who make all the yearly releases, they're just trying to get a product out. But people like CD Projekt Red, I mean, even Bethesda, kind of at this point. I feel like Bethesda's kind of getting on a cash like thing now, but they used to be kind of about like this big. I guess Valve is a good one, because Valve takes a lot of time to make their games. Half-Life 3's and then we come out, but it's a lot about this quality going into their games, so that they can make a game that really like affects somebody, like just their whole experience. They really want to give that to people.
Well, see, I think just because these game developers are putting out this game yearly doesn't mean there's any less love going into these series. Like, just like in with Nintendo, they have a new Mario game every so often, and whenever you see the developers of Mario, they're always smiling. They seem like they're having a good time. You can tell they really love working on these Mario projects, whatever they end up being. And who's to say these people working on Call of Duty projects aren't working on other things because of the fact that they've fallen in love with these Call of Duty projects. They enjoy making like the crazy zombie horde modes, or like thinking up new crazy things like going to the future, or like getting a dog companion, I guess.
I think the difference, I guess, I'm thinking of is they could be enjoying their experience, but it's not completely like. Sometimes I feel like they're not thinking about the full customer experience. Like, they might really enjoy making the game, but I don't know if they realize that the game they're creating isn't really the best that like the customer could get from their efforts. Like they could probably work harder to if they had more time, if they were less under constraint, they could work harder to develop something way more polished. But
something interesting, I feel like it's almost sort of like a you can't have one without the other. It's like a necessary evil kind of thing, where if we didn't have these yearly games coming out that were subpar to like being okay, or like, oh, this one's okay, you know, it's actually kind of good, then we wouldn't be so impressed or looking forward to games that you've been waiting for like 4 years and it keeps getting pushed back, and you know it's going to be really good. You know, it's kind of like you need one to have the other. You need the good to have the bad, and the bad for the good.
I think what the big problem here is that none of us are really big, like, Call of Duty fans. But if we had a Call of Duty fan on this show, he would tell you that, like a guy who's bought every Call of Duty the past 6 years and plans on continuing to buy each of them, he would tell us that, like, no, he doesn't like The Witcher because he's not into all the, like, the fantasy stuff like we are.
Oh, yeah.
Like, these games are made for a different set of people. The people I know who really love Call of Duty, they're turned away by fantasy or big open world games with huge story.
They're intimidated by it.
I don't know about intimidated.
I mean, there's not a very big world in Call of Duty for them to explore.
It's just not like they don't want to sit down and explore like a big field and find some cool stuff or whatever. They want to like sit down, get into a competitive match and shoot at their friends and just have like a good laugh doing that. So I think it's really hard for us to judge like if Call of Duty is putting out like their best work for what gamers want, because really if you look at their sales number, it is what gamers want. Call of Duty like continues to be what gamers want every year.
It's true.
And
it's true.
I think it's unfair to the developers of Call of Duty to say they could be doing better or more with their time. Like, if they really enjoy working on these Call of Duty games, and again, we're talking about Call of Duty, so each of these games has like more than a year of development time.
Right. Yeah.
Even though they come out yearly, like one developer probably has like 2 or 3 years, since there's 3 of them rotating, to like continue to do this.
I guess maybe I'll come at this from a different angle, like maybe like launch activity, just the how long the game can be played for, because for example, there's the two, I guess the first person shooter that I have in mind that was made in like so long ago is Team Fortress 2. And that is like I think either top number 1 free to play game on Steam or second free to play game, like around Dota 2, but it's still up there, and it's made a long time ago. That game, Valve made it. They poured so much time into balancing it, and they keep updating it as well, and they keep trying to like make it fresh. And that game has survived all through this time. But the only Call of Duty game I know that people still really enjoy as like a classic is the first Call of Duty, like Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. People actually are still on those servers and playing, and that's like the only Call of Duty game that I know that has like the staying power. Like, I mean, which Assassin's Creed is still being played right now? Like, I don't know, no, because like their multiplayer is pretty weak, so it's kind of
Black Flag is probably the one most people are still playing because people really enjoyed the pirate aspect of Black Flag.
That's true.
But as far as Call of Duty versus Team Fortress, what is like each new Call of Duty, but like an expansion or a DLC? Because the gameplay
it's an expensive expansion. That's what it is.
Full-priced expansion.
Yeah.
I mean, but they're usually very large expansions and very large upgrades as well. I don't know about upgrades every time, but occasionally there's very large upgrades. And that's exactly what Team Fortress has been doing. Also, Team Fortress is free.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing. But, like, Call of Duty has had the same gameplay, like, base structure since their original, like, whatever, I assume Call of Duty 1 is.
Probably, yeah.
But, like, so who's to say that the person who's been playing since Call of Duty 1 up to whatever the current one is now hasn't, like, accumulated tons of hours playing essentially the same game with better graphics and
It's true.
DLC, essentially.
Just spent a lot more money, I guess.
Yeah, just spent a lot more money.
I think,
especially, like, because a lot of the people who play Call of Duty are not PC gamers.
Mm-hmm.
They're consoles.
I guess when it comes down to it, it's if you're willing to pay for it, it's worth it to you, right?
Yeah, it's
and
worth
so
it to
that's
whatever.
that's really what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the end.
And that's exactly what the AAA developers know, and that's why they keep coming out with the games.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, it's working.
It's working, and people seem to be happy with it.
Yeah.
Like, aside from a lot of, like, hardcore gamers who know, like, we play on PC, there's better FPS games, like, more interesting FPS games to play on PC and on console. But, like, some people just enjoy the Call of Duty thing, and to them, like, Call of Duty deserves Game of Year. And that's maybe not how we see it, but so long as there are enough people out there who see it that way and are willing to buy the games, and the games are not coming out broken and buggy, Assassin's Creed, then I think there's no reason they can't just keep pumping them out every year.
Yeah, I guess.
But Assassin's Creed should stop.
Yeah,
Stop.
Unless they actually do like take their time and it actually comes out to be amazing, then
there's
that's exciting, I guess.
If unexpectedly there's like a 3-year gap between this one and the next one, then I think it would blow people away. They'd be like, "Where's Assassin's Creed?" And then the next one would come out, and it would be like, "Okay," and people would be like, "Oh my God, Assassin's Creed is back! Look at it! Yay!"
I heard good things about the one that just Syndicate.
Yeah, Syndicate. Yeah,
I heard good things about Syndicate, but I haven't played it or touched it, and I'm wondering if maybe it's just a surprise at the fact that it's not super broken.
Right, it actually worked.
But I saw a lot of the combat, and it looked really cool.
Yeah, so. Maybe they're making a comeback. They've learned from their mistakes.
Hopefully.
As I'm sure Call of Duty has had plenty of mistakes in their, like, 20-year run now that they've, like, managed to get it down. That's probably why they have the 3 developers each working on a game.
Probably. So I guess our conclusion here is if it isn't broke, then it's fine.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, exactly. That's actually the lesson here. Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
If it is broken,
please fix it.
Stop.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, I guess that's the conclusion we come to. I'm still for quality games, but yeah,
Right.
no, I agree.
It's
I definitely agree.
I'm for quality, but I understand quantity.
Exactly. Me too.
And sometimes I wish sometimes I wish Valve would speed it up.
Yeah.
Team Fortress 3, maybe? Maybe that's the next one.
Or Left 4 Dead 3.
Left 4 Dead
or
3.
Portal 3.
Oh.
I would be so happy with the Portal 3.
Exactly,
Yes.
but they can't count to 3. Or
No.
I guess Dota 3. You could
There was
throw in
that
there.
fan-made Portal thing that went
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Valve, pay attention.
Yeah, exactly.
If
We're
that-
still excited.
If that fan-made thing went nuts, you could make something, and we will buy it.
They could literally shit on a piece of on a disc and send it out, and people would be like, "Oh my god!"
People would buy it, but then they'll be like, "Oh, this sucks." But hey, we got a game.
Yeah.
3.
Maybe they'll skip straight to Left 4 Dead.
That's pretty clever, actually. But yeah, that is our conclusion. So we'll go ahead and transition to our wrap up. Thank you so much for listening to our episode 3. We hope you enjoyed it. We got a lot of cool little interactions of talking and a lot of questions we asked each other. I really enjoyed this one, so I hope you enjoyed listening to it. You guys have any closing comments?
Yeah, so we're going to be doing a little bit more with this channel, and if you guys haven't seen them yet, we've got a few Let's Plays up. I plan on putting those videos up every Tuesday and Thursday, so keep an eye open for those guys.
Lots of hard work put into that. Lots of yelling.
Lots of yelling. We played a lot of high-octane games in our first session, so they're meant to be a lot of yelling. We're going to play some calmer games in our next section.
We'll play Bear Simulator next time.
I don't know about that.
We'll make Ruben buy it.
Yeah. We'll make him pay full price.
Full price.
And then he won't even get to play it.
I won't even pay $15 for a game I want.
All right, well, yeah, thank you so much for staying with us. So have a nice night.
See you next time.
Bye.